May I now request Mr. Amarish Karnik, Director Channel Sales, Alliances&Cloud Service Provider, India and SAARC, Veeam Software to speak on data availability for any data, any app, any cloud. Mr. Amarish is responsible for Veeam's growth across all markets in India and SAARC by building strong channel and alliance ecosystems. He is a veteran of the industry with more than 20 plus years of experience across sales channel and alliance and revenue generation roles. Amarish came to Veeam from Nutanix, where he was Director General Business and Partners. He has worked at the Citrix, Cisco and Avaya in various leading roles.
Deepak, thank you so much for the opportunity and really appreciate for this. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to all the friends across the world. Thank you for viewing this. Thank you from bottom of my heart. Today, I'm going to talk about data availability for any app, any data, any cloud. Yeah, I represent Veeam Software in India, India and SAARC, and I take care of channels and alliances across India and SAARC over there. That's one of the route to market, which we all know it, right? As I speak, I think we as a Veeam had a tremendous year in last 18 months. Was really exciting for us. First thing is that we crossed more than $1 billion, $1.1 billion run rate revenue, which we are doing it. I think more important, while doing this 1.1 billion dollar run rate revenue, I think it is coming from 4 lakh customers, 400,000 customers are using Veeam over there. That's a significant value for us. The second one is out of that, again, this $1.1 billion is coming from 82% of the Fortune 500 companies are using Veeam. Look, they will use the traditional legacy backup, but for the modern workload, for the virtualized workload, they started using Veeam, and that's a big achievement for us. The company who was born in 2008 and gone and achieving this is really creditable. 4,000 customers are also giving us an edge over the competition. Is that whatever happens in the economy, I think these are the people who will keep renewing our contracts, keep buying something, is allowing us to have a sustainable revenue of $1.1 billion coming in. And last but not the least, if you look at, we have a more than 75 plus net promoter score. This net promoter score is always minus 100 to plus 100. And today, if you look at, I joined Veeam 3 years back and we were at 70. And now today we are at 75, which means as we continue to capture the market, we continue to grow our revenue, NPS score. It's more critical because if you look at the sample size increases, actually NPS score starts coming down, but whereas in case of Veeam, it continues to grow up. So 2 things which we are doing really good. One is that our product is really good and our execution capability is doing really well for us. I think one more thing is, if you look at the journey with the Gartner Magic Quadrant, company born in 2008, first product shipped in 2010, and 2017, in next 7 years time, we are in the topmost Gartner Magic Quadrant. As the journey starts, we continue to capture x-axis as well as y-axis. 2019, we further strengthen our capability, and more about ability to execute is becoming more and more prominent in 2019. 2020, we further grown on x-axis also. That's a completeness of vision. And as I speak, in 2021 also, we've grown both x-axis as well as y-axis, whereas some of our friends dropped down from the leaders quadrant to a challenges quadrant over there. We continue to grow big time, and we have taken an absolutely leadership position over there in a Gartner Magic Quadrant. If that's the case in Gartner Magic Quadrant, one more parameter that a lot of customers evaluate us is about IDC. When IDC talks about Veeam's capability and execution capability specifically, Veeam continues to grow that from their standpoint of view, and we are number 2 now in terms of sheer revenue. Good news is that we continue to grow more than 18%, 20% year on year. when the industry itself is growing at 0.5%, 0.4 is the exact one thing as a market average, which means I think we are eating somebody's lunch, somebody's breakfast, somebody's dinner. And few people continue to degrow, whereas we continue to eat their lunch and we continue to grow over there. More important is that it's not only about year-on-year growth, it's also about the sequential growth, which we talked about over here. I think as 2020 began, some of the bigger challenges what customers started facing is zero tolerance for the downtime. And it was always there, but it become more and more prominent because we are work from home, we are work from anywhere. And that's the reason I can't manage my data center the way it earlier I was supposed to manage. And hence, it is becoming more and more important for organizations to look at how do I manage my data loss, if there are any, or how do I recover that data when the incidents happens. Second one is about ransomware. When we look at ransomware, it's like that virus in the body. It's always there. But how do I have a safe environment whenever I required it, I should be in a position to recover that data from the ransomware protection. And that is where Veeam's immutability works really, really well. And people are just loving this solution, what we are offering as far as ransomware is concerned. Meeting compliance and governance, absolutely on top of everyone's priority. Whether you look at some of the BFSI, whether they need to submit the reports to SEBIs of the world or RBIs of the world, or even if you look at some of the pharma companies, they need to submit those reports to the FDAs, and which is where Veeam can go back and tell the business saying that, look, how easily I'm in a position to meet the goal. And not only meet the goal, this is a document which tells you and gives the confidence to the business saying that I will be my data is safe and I'll be in a position to recover the data in a no matter's time. I think that's the beauty of Veeam. Recovery despite shortage of staff and over there is becoming, this will be there still next 1.5 years time, because we will have ups and downs because of the COVID challenges. Sometimes we will be out of the lockdown, sometimes we'll go into the lockdown. But my importance is that I need to recover the data as and when required. I can guarantee you with Veeam, you will be in a position to 100% recover the data, anything which has been backed up by Veeam. That's the assurance which we give it to every customer, and we live up to that. And last but not the least, I think protection for the data when I'm working from home in both ways. Since I started working from home, my endpoint also needs a protection. Data is now there on my lot of laptops and desktops also. Somebody needs to manage that data. And more important, I think the Veeam feels that can that be as a service? Can that be like an app? And which we work with our cloud service providers and offer that as a solution, that it will be offered as a service to the company. So they don't need to worry about where do I store my data, how do I recover. Everything has been outsourced and it is well taken care by the our service provider over there. And as we started engaging this year, I think CEO's number one priority, if you look at, is growth. And while doing the growth, one thing which they ask is that how do I achieve this growth is by doing digital transformation. And while doing a digital transformation, I think we see a major shift happening from consolidation to virtualization to private cloud, and now getting into an hybrid cloud era. And hybrid cloud is not whatever is the best thing for your application should reside there. Whether that is on-premises, whether that is AWS or Azure or any other cloud is perfectly fine. And that is where world is moving. People are putting the applications as and when required. For example, I'm just launching an application and hence I will go on a public cloud. But once I get matured, I would like to bring it back on premises. Is that Veeam provides that solution really, really well for their every customer. And that is where the Veeams Vision comes in, that we want to become a most trusted provider of backup solution that delivers modern data protection. And I'll come to that word modern data protection in a couple of slides down the line. but we are not shying away from the workload, which is backup for a lot of companies. I think if you look at the way we are leading the curve, is that we started with virtualization. Quickly, we adopted the private cloud story, and now we are looking at the cloud mobility or a modern workload protection, 2018 and plus over there. So virtualization, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. That's the journey which we are in. And that is where Veeam's completeness of vision comes in, from the breadth of backup solution. We started with virtual, and it is very common that anything which is VMware gets backed up by Veeam. We added few more hypervisors over there, and needless to say, all hypervisors. From there to physical workload, whether it's laptop desktops or Oracle Solaris, or it can be a simple your Windows laptop or Mac laptop as such. From there, I think now the SaaS, because the world is moving towards SaaS, and you know that all the data is also being there in all these SaaS workloads. As a first step, as a journey towards the SaaS workload capturing, I think we started first is that, can I do a backup of Office 365? And count on me, friends. This is the most hottest selling cake for us. 365 backup is everyone's need. And needless to say, whether you look at OneDrive or whether you look at Microsoft Teams, that data also needs a protection. And last but not the least, the workloads which are there on a public cloud asset. Whether you look at AWS, Azure, GCP, any, or even to that matter, IBM Cloud, those are the workloads needs a data protection. Gone are those days that people say, no, I don't need a protection. People need a data protection. And more important is where the Veeam's uniqueness comes in, is whether you look at physical, virtual, or cloud. I think Veeam's unique value proposition to the customer is about one single license for all workload, which means whether my workloads are physical, virtual, or cloud. Today I am on physical, tomorrow I will move to virtual. If I'm on virtual, I will move on cloud. And that is where Veeam can provide a one single license, allow you to back up anything which is there. And this is a very unique value proposition to the customer. And more important, it's also the investment protection for a lot of customers. If you look at Veeam's, this is a true architectural side which Veeam has, but more important, I think Veeam is much beyond backup. We are backup plus plus company. We talk about whether you look at monitoring or whether you look at cloud mobility, or you look at even DR orchestration. More important, I think the uniqueness of Veeam solution is that, can I even give you a safe environment where you can do your testing? You can I just carve out something and give it to my testing people, an environment where they can test their patch, they can do anything, instead of running it on the. Yeah, you were saying something?
No, nothing.
Oh, okay. So
you have 2 minutes.
Yeah, okay. And that's where Veeam's unique capability of data reuse come really handy for the customers. Having said that, I think the world is moving towards the containers and Kubernetes. It's myth that people are only using containers and Kubernetes something on cloud. No. It's very much there on premises also. And that is where Veeam came back and did the acquisition of Kasten, which allowed us to offer backup solution or a disaster recovery or application mobility for the containers and Kubernetes. So again, we're not shying away from the workload, which is backup. For anything, we will be in a position to do a backup of that. And that's where Veeam's story also starts, that whether you look at something to the cloud, from the cloud, and within the cloud. To the cloud is that anything which is running on premises and you need a backup of that and put it into a cloud, Veeam can do that. From the cloud, applications, typically the SaaS or IaaS applications running over there, and Veeam needs to take a backup and put it onto a premises, we can do that. And last but not the least, in a multi-cloud scenario, people would love to look at the backup or DR orchestration from a cloud to a B cloud also. And Veeam can do that really, really well. I think in nutshell, if I have to talk about Veeam, I think Veeam is more about choice. Freedom to choice is the theme for us. And look, irrespective of hypervisor, irrespective of platform choice, and irrespective of cloud, customers can choose, and we will allow customer to choose we will give a choice to the customer. Public cloud, platform choice, or a hypervisor choice. And I think that's the mantra for us as we move forward. Yeah. True customer satisfaction. I just love these slides. When people talk about Veeam, that thank you, Veeam, for reducing our instant recovery windows from 18 hours to 5 minutes. And I think that means we are making a big difference in people's life. It's not that we need to do it everything after office hours. We can very much do that activity on the fly in a no matters times. That's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Amarish, for giving a wonderful presentation. And we understand on the backup, disaster recovery for virtual, physical, and multi-cloud infrastructures.